Hi everyone, hope everyone's doing well today and you got on well with your homework. So this was 2008 higher level question, long question on ecology. This is going to be the last one that we're going to do before we move on. So just wanted to show you, if you have study clicks or exam papers, there's absolutely loads and loads of ecology questions way back, short questions there. You have long questions, short question, loads of them. Okay, the more practice at these you get, the better. Okay, and the course hasn't really changed too much since then. So there's loads of examples of questions that you can try, and it's probably good for your own bit of study if you can. Okay, so first question was, what does an ecologist mean by competition? So this is to do with any organisms that are fighting with each other over a resource that's in short supply. So you can see there 3 marks there. Okay, then the next one was competition, and that's when one organism loses their resource. And then scramble competition is each organism gets some of the resource. Okay, so that was the difference between the two contests, is where there's an active physical fight and one wins. Scramble is when they all get a share of the resource. It's good to put it in an example as well sometimes. Okay, this was our extract on cyclamen mites and carnivorous mites and the strawberry fields. So yeah, again, another good example of ecology in the real world. Okay, so just to show you here first before we go on. So we have strawberry is the producer, in this case, strawberry plant. Okay, this is just a food chain first. And then what we have is they're eaten by cyclamen mites. And they are eaten then by the top consumer, we'll put in black here. So these are carnivorous. Possible bad spelling there. Carnivorous cyclamen mites. Okay, so the confusion here in this year was that they're both cyclamen, but one is carnivore. So a carnivore is something that eats animals. Okay, so that's the order that they're in there. Okay, so I'll get rid of that because I need that space for later. Okay, so that's the kind of basic food chain that's going on. Where are we going to here? Okay, yeah. So 2008, here we go. Okay, so that's our paragraph, and then there's our graph there itself. Okay, so we have A and B, we have number of mites on the y-axis and then time on the x-axis. Okay, so that's that. They haven't really told us which one is which. Okay, so which graph A or B represents the carnivorous mites, and explain your answer. Okay, so the carnivorous ones are the predator here in this case, and remember the predator's population is always lower than the prey. So the one that's lower than the prey in this case, and you can see a slight delay in the peaks really over here especially, is B. Okay, so let's see what they said for explain your answer. So B here at the bottom, smaller numbers, or B, peak occurs after A peak. Okay, so you get 3 marks for B, and then 3 for smaller numbers. It's probably the easiest one to do. Okay, next, what term is used to describe the relationship between the cyclamen mites and the carnivorous mites? Your answer here in this case is predator-prey. Okay, predator-prey relationship or predation. Okay, for 3 marks. Suggest 2 reasons why the cyclamen mite managed to quickly re-invade the strawberry field. So this was after the spray had been put on the strawberries. So we got our cyclamen mites and our carnivorous mites were both kind of killed off. But how come the cyclamen mites managed to quickly re-invade? Okay, so we need to say 2 reasons here in this case. Okay, so possible answers then. Or reduced competition, what that means is because their predator was killed off, that means they weren't getting killed, so they were able to eat away on the strawberry plants unopposed. Predator eliminated, okay, same thing. First one, reduced competition means that, because there's loads of different strawberry plants and not as many cyclamen mites, that means their competition was avoided. Then we have the predator eliminated, which I just mentioned there, but the carnivorous mites were killed off or reduced. Plenty of food available, development of resistance, so maybe they developed a resistance to this spray, the cyclamen mites, and then immigration, so maybe they moved to a different field to eat the strawberries, or even a different plant. They moved away basically. So loads of different possible answers to that one. Okay, 4, suggest an alternative to the use of pesticides for controlling the cyclamen mite population. So if you had a problem in your field that there was too many cyclamen mites eating your strawberries, what would you do? So you could introduce more carnivorous mites if you had them to kill off the cyclamen mites. You could develop a plant that had a chemical in it that the cyclamen mites might not like the taste of. Really, those are your main examples there. So biological control means living things to control. So that's what I was talking about there, bringing in more of a predator, which is the carnivorous mite, and getting the carnivorous mites to eat the cyclamen ones. You can genetically modify the plant, or any other example of crop rotation you could possibly do. So instead of growing strawberries one year, you could grow something else. Alright, that's that one. Okay, next one was suggest an alternative. Oh no, sorry, we just done that. Draw a pyramid of numbers to include each of the organisms mentioned in the extract above. Okay, so the answer in the marking scheme isn't there. So you have to draw your pyramid. I'll leave it at the bottom there. You have to draw your pyramid, strawberry plants at the base, which is fairly obvious, and then your cyclamen mites and carnivorous mites in the correct order and shape. So you need that for total 6. Okay, so if we draw our strawberry plant, remember one strawberry plant can feed a load of different mites. Okay, so here is what you'd have. Strawberry plant there. It's a small space considering what's coming next. So then we have loads of cyclamen mites, because loads of cyclamen mites can feed off the one strawberry plant. Okay. Then we'd have slightly less carnivorous mites. Okay, so we might have maybe that many, for example. Okay, as long as it's somewhere less than the cyclamen. So these I'll write in here. I'll just write carnivore, I think is all I'll get a space to write in. So carnivore, the carnivorous mites, might squeeze those in, carnivore mites. Okay, so we have the correct order, there's 3 marks, and we have the correct shape, there's 3 marks, for a total of 6. Okay, so that's how you would draw yours. Key thing to note is that the strawberry plant here could possibly be just one on its own, like I have. You could draw loads of plants and have the base bigger if you like, and there's a few options there, but as long as this one and this one is in the correct shape, there's no real alternative. Okay, that's that one. And this keeps jumping on me. Okay, so that's our pyramid of numbers, which is number 5. Okay, number 6, apart from competition and the factor illustrated in the above example, state another factor that limits population growth. Okay, so maybe there might be a disease that might hit the mites. What else do we got here? Parasitism, food availability, pollution, or other named factor. I'll just put that at the bottom there so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, so disease is the one that rings out to me there, because it can kill lots of different living things. Okay, that's that one. Then we have letter C. Waste management is a matter of growing concern in Ireland as population expands. Outline 3 problems associated with waste disposal. And then for 2, give an example of a waste produced in agriculture or fisheries or forestry, and describe how it's managed. So I got all 3 answers there from looking at your post, agriculture, fisheries and forestry. So we'll do these 2 questions here together. So waste described or named. Oh no, sorry, the first was the problems with the waste. So we have disease, pollution, toxin, smell, unsightly, meaning that it doesn't look good, having a dump beside a neighbourhood, for example, or other valid named problems. So you need 3 there. Total of 9 marks, so that's quite a lot of marks there. Then we had our waste described or named. So for forestry, people in forestry can leave the tree tops on the forest floor to rot to return in the nutrients into the soil for the next generation of trees to grow up. In fisheries, I know some people said that the parts of the fish that aren't used for food, like the insides and the bones and all that, can be blended and pulped, pulped, to be then turned into pig food. The pigs will eat it, which is quite disgusting, but that's what they're into. And so that's how that waste can be managed. Then we have agriculture. So the slurry or the waste from animals can be used to spread on dry farmland and acts as a fertilizer for the grass. So that's your examples. Then we got suggest 2 methods of waste minimization. That's your reduce, reuse, recycle. I'm sure you know that at this stage. Then we have give 1 example of the use of microorganisms in waste management. So we did a little bit about that during the week. So in landfill sites, there's at the top here, there's microorganisms used to break down certain things. Sewage treatment plants, they're stimulated or agitated, the liquid that's flowing through, to allow more oxygen in so microorganisms can grow and break down things. Then the compost heaps at the end, digesters, I'm not too sure what they are. Compost heaps, when we collect food and put them in a big heap in our garden, microorganisms can gather there and break it down, and that can be used then. Okay, so that's it for our homework question. Hopefully you got on okay.